feels like it's not the greatest year for Steve Harvey, in light of the fact that the once-cherished television have is presently confronting a gigantic measure of analysis for his past activities, and may try and face kid abuse allegations. Evidently, Steve has been taking cover behind his picture of a family man and incredible dad, and nobody was in any event. Considering him damaging one of his children in the new stunning disclosures, it was affirmed that there's proof demonstrating that Steve was not just beating his child Winton while he was residing with him, yet in addition doing a few very upsetting things in his presence, with his confidential piece of hanging out his ding-a-ling hanging all over the place. And he would call Winton in the restroom. Such a hazardous allegations can compromise Steve's situation in the stage, and he doesn't figure out how to quiet this story with his cash greetings everybody. And welcome back to Celeb Live Station. So assuming you still a devotee of Steve Harvey and see him as a good example, this video might change your viewpoint about this man. Lastly, show you his clouded side. And this time, even the renowned television have himself can't get away from the end gathering of equity, since it was uncovered that the police actually got the verification of Steve beating his child Winton. And this disclosure cracked the television have out on the grounds that he had expected that the entire situation had been quieted quite a while in the past. On this video, I have film and tapes and recordings and instant messages and letters of this, well, to some extent. Now we realize the reason why Steve's second wife, Mary, is so resolute to destroy his life and vocation. It has for some time been hypothesized why she was after him after their separation, and what potential explanation can prompt her monstrous battle with her ex-companion for such countless years, with the unquestionable proof in her control. It seems like Mary will have a genuine potential for success to have against her ex, in spite of his riches and weak will. It appears as though Mary needs no cash or her way of life back, as it was accepted, and the entire motivation behind why she continues onward after Steve isn't even connected with her. It's all a result of her child Winton's horrendous past, and Mary's just craving is to see her ex being rebuffed for utilizing severe power against Winton. And in the event that you ask many individuals, it seems like Winton has experienced the most his father's abuse. Yet it never happened to the public that there are genuine reports that might actually prompt Steve being squeezed with charges, all things being equal, numerous years after to get recuperated and manage the higher perspective of this. And it isn't two individuals having an extremely open contention, as Mary has been attempting to tell us for quite a long time. Winton has changed much subsequent to being abused by his father in the youth, and she even unveiled the subtleties of Harvey's corrupt way of behaving. Yet we should dive into the juiciest subtleties of the story, since now, notwithstanding all dangers and various lost courts, it seems like Mary gains sufficient confirmation that she had previously spilled to the police, and it was even expressed by certain sources that the examination of this long-gotten occurrence has started taking a gander at Steve Harvey's photographs, where he presents with his family. He could never think about the number of skeletons this man conceals in his storage room, and in spite of being denounced for abusing his own youngsters, and surprisingly, different proclamations from his children, he had some way or another held his picture as a decent family man. It might have remained the same way yet presently because of social liberties dissident S.E. Berry, who had chosen to work with Mary. We get sufficient proof on Steve's past activities that could smudge his unblemished standing perpetually. That doesn't address what our identity is in the event that I was furious. The ideal opportunity for me to strike out would have been doing the genuine due to her work with Mary. S.E. Berry herself was followed, pestered, undermined as she expressed her life was in peril due to truth, and she was finished being quiet by influential men like Steve, who figure they can purchase everything, even the quietness of specific people. Since they have abundant resources, S.E. Berry transferred a tremendous video on YouTube discussing her work with Mary and spilling a few dim mysteries of Steve's past and how he was really treating his natural child Winton. And it's so difficult to accept that behind this veneer of a grinning and kidding humorist, there was an evil spirit in mask who could undoubtedly cross a line at whatever point he needed. I suppose Steve's can, as of now, work on diminishing how much mischief that could be possibly finished to his standing. And notwithstanding his way not continuously being smooth and simple, it seemed like he figured out how to gauge the exit from any terrible circumstance with his persistent effort and assurance. He delighted in progress in media outlets for a really long time while his ex Mary was battling to share her story and uncover his genuine nature. Yet presently, with new proof coming to see the light, it seems like Steve wouldn't have the option to weasel out this wreck. And the sources say that he is profoundly worried about Essie and Mary joined front, and the verification they had on him beating his child. Mary has been vocal about this present circumstance for quite a while, and there previously was the underlying examination, after which Steve Harvey was found not guilty of potential kid misuse. And as Mary expressed, there was an off-putting thing in the manner the court has dealt with the circumstance. And as per her, Steve utilized a ton of assets, including payoff and strain to be gotten from these allegations, free from influence and authority. And he involved that in the court, as per Mary, she previously attempted to caution the police about her ex's oppressive way of behaving, yet it didn't function as a mother. Mary was essentially frightened and stunned to discover that Steve had hit their child Winton with a belt then and oar up. And she quickly cautioned the specialist, showing the evidence of various wounds on the kid's body, remembering wounds for a kid's body, remembering wounds for his posterior thigh and legs. The kid likewise shared that he experienced difficulty peeing for quite a long time after the beating anyway. After a full examination, Harvey was gotten free from the claims. And it was expressed that in view of the data country that the kid doesn't seem, by all accounts, to be in danger. The case is shut minus any additional examination. And here's where this story goes wild in light of the fact that, as Mary said, all proof supernaturally vanished from the police division, as though it had never existed. Well, certain individuals say that Mary had developed the entire story since she felt harsh after her separation, and the way that Steve was going behind her back with one more lady, and surprisingly, chose to pass on her to wed his escort anyway. As a matter of fact, Mary realized that her marriage with Steve was ill-fated sometime before she was given the legal documents, and as an unwavering lady who cherished her family and put her family needs over her own ones, she was wanting to retouch their family vote. There were numerous days when I assumed I was finished, and I needed to be finished. So Mary wasn't mad about Marjorie, and all that this lady needed is to have a pleasant family. Yet the truth hit her hard when she was given legal documents out of nowhere. And what sickens me the most in the story, that Steve had in the end won guardianship of their child soon after the separation, and God just knows in what environment the kid was developing, while Mary gave her all to take up arms in court and get her child back. She didn't have Steve's legitimate group. And the most obviously awful part, that she couldn't actually hope to make any difference with the circumstance, since it's difficult to battle a man with such a measure of abundance and influence as Steve. In light of the fact that I'm no one important, you realize his legal advisors came in his group of legal